Next up, podcast listeners, we have NBC wants to end the filibuster. That's right. Good old NBC is actually advocating to end the filibuster. And you have to listen closely to why I think that NBC wants to end the filibuster as a news organization. So here's Chuck Todd of NBC. If you ever watched Chuck Todd, you will know he's probably one of the most corrupt reporters in American television and in the American newsrooms, without question, because Chuck Todd, he always has those leading questions, and he has an agenda every time he's running his program. You can say, well, he's doing it for ratings. Doesn't matter. It's not real news. Nonetheless, Chuck Todd asks Senator Durbin of Illinois about ending the filibuster now that the Democrats are in charge of the United States Senate. We have the first clip on that where Chuck Todd has that leading question. Let's end the filibuster. Listen closely and see how excited he is about this. Here's the clip.
So I want to get to the filibuster now. There's a lot of progressive groups that have no patience on this filibuster debate. And I know you guys are going to get inundated with some ads that are already on social media. Here's one we're putting up. The time has come here. It looks like a movie trailer, and they quote Barack Obama saying Jim Crow relic. AOC calling it a cherished tool of segregationists, and former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid saying it's outlived its usefulness. Do you have a point in time? Where are you on this filibuster question? And is there a point where you're going to say, you know what, I've tried long enough?
Well, I think it gets down to the bottom line here. The American people want us to take action on this pandemic, action on this economy, and on a host of other issues. And if this filibuster has now become so common in the Senate that we can't act, that we just sit there helpless, shame on us. Of course we should consider a change in the rule under those circumstances.
So the filibuster, what is it, of course? So just to remind you, the filibuster is the rule in the Senate that says that you need 60 votes in order to end a debate. So if you have a debate, of course, on the Senate floor about a COVID stimulus bill, you would actually need 60 United States senators to say, okay, this debate about this particular bill can now end. And at which point, then you have a vote, and it takes 51 senators to pass that particular stimulus bill. So really, because it takes 60 votes to end debate, it means that it takes 60 votes to really pass a bill, right? Because you can't even get to the point where you vote until you actually end the debate. That's really an important point. So why is that the case? Why is that a rule in the United States Senate? Well, it's a rule, and it has been a rule in the United States Senate because of the fact that it is the traditional cooling off body. Crazy legislation routinely gets passed out of the House of Representatives. It moves to the United States Senate, and the United States Senate says, okay, you need 60 votes to pass this bill. So we're going to cool things off, slow it down, have a debate, and the debate's going to be a long time so that senators can negotiate and compromise and if they don't, of course, you're not going to ever get the 60 votes according to the Senate rules, and that would be the filibuster. And once you end the debate, then you can go and vote for the bill, then it only takes 51 votes. So, of course, now that the Democrats are in charge, they want to end that filibuster. And NBC News is so excited. Chuck Todd is so excited about getting rid of this filibuster. It's really kind of, disgusting because it is such a dangerous thing to get rid of. Because when you don't have a cooling off body in a republic, what you have is mob rule. And mob rule never ends well and never has throughout history. So good old Chuck Todd says, well, Harry Reid, says give it a couple of months before you actually decide to see how things go, before you actually get rid of the filibuster. And if you recall, Senator Harry Reid was from Nevada, of course, United States Senator, and he actually got rid of the filibuster in certain very narrow votes, right? And so he kind of started the process of getting people to think along the lines of getting rid of the filibuster. And so good old Chuck Todd says, well, hey, Harry Reid says, give it a couple of months. Dick Durbin has a response to that. We have that clip, and here it is.
Harry Reid, in fact, suggests giving it a couple of months. Would you I've almost wondered, when Senator Schumer and Senator McConnell negotiating, are you willing to say, okay, we won't do it for 6 months. Let's see how you behave?
Well, let me answer your question by citing another thing. We're trying to pass an organizing resolution. You know what that's all about, so that the committees can get down to business. And what Chuck Schumer put on the table was word for word the bipartisan agreement the last time we had a 50-50 Senate. And Senator McConnell came back and said, no, I want absolute protection. The filibuster will not be touched. Well, that's a non-starter, because if we gave him that, then the filibuster would be on everything every day. So here's the bottom line. If we are going to work in a bipartisan fashion, let's pass the organizing resolution without the extra McConnell language.
So that is limiting, essentially Harry Reid saying initially, just wait a couple of months, see how it goes, and then you can really jam stuff through. And Dick Durbin saying, well, we have an organizing resolution. Well, the organizing resolution it's basically a resolution of the rules in the Senate, how things work at the committee level, and once you're on the floor, and of course, debating particular bills. And so Dick Durbin's point is, well, we have a filibuster already. Let's just see if the Republicans are trying to be obstructionists before we actually move forward. So as you can see, Dick Durbin's being very careful. Why is that? Because Durbin knows what happens. It doesn't go well. It doesn't go very well at all when you have a filibuster that no longer exists, because you just jam this crazy stuff down through the Senate. And of course, since you have Biden, Biden's not going to veto any of this stuff because we know who's in charge. Barack Obama's in charge of the White House without question. They want to get rid of the filibuster. They want to jam through bringing D.C. in as a statehood and expanding the courts and packing the courts without question. So Joe Manchin of West Virginia is in a super red state, and he actually has said that he does not support ending the filibuster. Well, if you have a 50-50 vote in the United States Senate, because Kamala Harris is the tie-breaking vote as Vice President of the United States, but you have Senator Joe Manchin, who is a Democrat from West Virginia, but from an incredibly red state, and he's saying, I do not want to end the filibuster, then I think there's a good chance, hopefully, we can only cross our fingers, that Joe Manchin will do the right thing. My personal opinion is Joe Manchin would be best served if he changed parties to Republican anyway, because there is no way he's getting reelected from the state of West Virginia as a Democrat. He was fortunate enough last time to get elected. He's not going to get reelected, so he would be better off, I think, in my opinion, changing parties. Although you could also make the argument that Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia is also one of the most powerful members of Congress now, because of the fact that he holds that swing vote in his hand of the United States Senate at such time when bills do come to the floor and you need that 51st vote. He's the guy. So he has an incredible amount of power. But this idea of ending the filibuster and saying that it is a relic of Jim Crow is just so insulting. It really is, because if you don't understand the dangers of not having a cooling off body in the United States Senate, especially with the craziness that's coming from the left right now, where they essentially want to gut the entire republic and turn it into a direct democracy where the mob rules and cities basically control, all the votes. And if you live in the countryside, good luck. It's just too dangerous. And it's a shame that we even have a news organization like NBC trying to end the filibuster. So that's Chuck Todd wants to end the filibuster.